Since the actual quiz format has changed in the last few years, and we've gone from a quiz that is taken on primarily paper to now one that is taken using Google Forms, I thought it would be good to add an update video that shows what the new type of quiz looks like, and also gives some different hints for how to study for this, because it is a different setup, slightly, from before. So first let's take an overview of what the quiz looks like. On the screen right now you are looking at an actual quiz. This is a political map quiz for the Middle East, and you can see that the countries and water are indicated by the different colors, and also you've got the different locations marked by numbers 1 through, in this case, 18. So you would have this quiz on your desk next to you in color and on paper so that you could look at it. But on your device you would also see a drop-down menu that looks like this. So after filling in your name and some other things up here, you then see a series of questions that relate to the different locations on the map. And for number 1, you would just select this drop-down arrow and you would select from this long list here which location it is. Notice that it has the 18 different locations from the Middle East, but I've also put some other ones on there just so that you couldn't take the quiz by a process of elimination, but you actually need to know the different locations. So knowing that, let's think about how to actually prepare. First of all, you'd fill your map out just like before, labeling the different things and so forth. But when you get to the point of preparing, I would still recommend doing a lot of writing. So in the actual quiz, you will have a word bank. So when you get to the point where you think you know most of the locations, and you've done what the other videos have said before about learning in a pattern, like let's say you learn number 6, number 5, and number 18 in a row here from Istanbul to Ankara to Turkey, and you create different lists and patterns and ways of learning it. When you get to actually practicing it, I would have a list that you've created that looks very similar to this. You can handwrite it on a piece of paper. I would mix up all the names in different orders. In this case they happen to be in alphabetical order, but they might not be like that on the quiz. So then when you practice, I would point to a location here, like say point to number 9, say the location out loud, so in this case it would be Iran, and then find Iran on your list that you have off to your side that looks somewhat like this, but on notebook again, point to it and say, okay, that's Iran. In this case, hey, it's highlighted. So you are actually using your own list just like you would have on the quiz. One other thing too along with it is I would continue to write out the words as you point to them. So once you find it on your location here, you say, okay, what is this one? You say Iran. You point to your list here, okay, that's Iran. I would also write it out, because the more you write these things out, the more it's going to get basically engraven in your mind. And letting your hands do the physical work and saying them out loud are really important for your brain to remember it. The last thing I would say again is that even though it's in this format right here, let's go back to the internet here. In this format right here, so you have 1, 2, 3, you can start with whichever one you want to. So if we go back to our map here, let's say you started by learning number 6 first, which happens to be Istanbul, then you would go to number 6 first, go to that drop-down menu first, and put that answer in, because this is the first one you memorized. I would not go to number 1, wherever it is on this quiz, and answer that one first, because that's not the way you memorized it. So I would start at number 6, I would go to my quiz, pull down number 6, and answer that one first, and then go in the same order, which would mean then the second one you would answer with number 5 and number 18, right? Actually, that's number 15 right here. So if you memorize them from this one to this one to this one, and then from this one to this one to this one, and so forth, then when you go to the actual quiz, answer them in that order. So I hope this helps. Hope it gives you an indication of what the quizzes are like. And as always, let me know if you have any other suggestions or questions. Thanks.